Daddy. I miss my baby. I miss my grandkids. She was a good person, and everybody knows Kaylin would do anything for you. She didn't deserve this.
Who was to say a man that she think that she loved was going to kill her?
A grieving family stood behind Charlotte Police Chief Johnny Jennings after learning their missing loved one, 22-year-old Marqua Johnson, had been found dead in her apartment. Her 2 children, 4-year-old Miracle and 7-month-old Messiah Johnson, along with her.
We're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we bring closure for the family and also bring justice to the person responsible for these murders.
Benjamin Taylor, we have a warrant for your arrest. Come out with your hands up. Bang out. Taylor, it's the sheriff's office. Come out with your hands up.
A 22-year-old mother and her 2 babies, gone. And the person texting the family from her phone? Who does something like that? Why would you even do that? And how did they almost get away with it? March 15th, 2024, Charlotte, North Carolina. Police officers forced their way into apartment 4B on Orchard Trace Lane. Soon as they step inside, they know. The air conditioning blasting at 62 degrees in the middle of spring. 23 air fresheners scattered all through the apartment, candles burning on every surface you could see. When a place trying that hard to cover something up, your gut already screaming the truth at you. They move toward the hall closet, pull it open. What they find inside changes everything right there. But that's not even the worst discovery. The next day, investigators out in the parking lot searching a silver Chevy Camaro. They pop that trunk. 2 gym bags sitting there. And what's in those bags gonna haunt every person in that room for the rest of their lives? A 22-year-old mother, her 4-year-old daughter, her 7-month-old son, all dead, all hidden away like they never even mattered. And here's the twisted part that's gonna mess with your head. For 2 months, nobody knew they were gone. Text messages coming from her phone like clockwork. Excuses, delays, promises to call back soon. Her family felt something was wrong. The messages didn't sound like Marqua, but they had no idea what was really going down. While they waited for a phone call that would never come, someone was living in that apartment, walking past those bodies every single day, acting like everything was normal. This is the story of Marqua Johnson, a young mother who believed in second chances and paid with her life. This is the story of Benjamin Taylor, a man with a criminal history and a plan that was ice cold. And this is the story of 2 months of straight-up deception, a family's desperate search, and a discovery that shook a whole city. Welcome to Unheard Cries TV, where we tell the stories that need to be heard. What you're about to hear is going to stay with you. Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe. Share this video because Marqua's story needs to reach people. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from today? Because this case, it's about to get real. Before we get into the nightmare, you need to understand who Marqua Johnson really was. Born and raised in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Marqua was the type of person everybody wanted in their corner. Her family describes her with words that paint a picture of somebody who had a heart too big for this world. Sweethearted, giving, compassionate, like genuinely caring about people in a way that's rare these days. But here's what they don't tell you about being the kind one, the giving one. People see that as an opportunity.
She was a good person, and everybody knows Kaylin would do anything for you. She didn't deserve this. She did not deserve this.
Marqua's grandmother said it plain. She was loving, but people took advantage of that, and they did, over and over again. Marqua also dealt with mental health struggles, something her family shared later on. Not to make her look bad, never that, but to help people understand how someone like Benjamin Taylor could even get close to her in the first place. Because when you're vulnerable, when you're searching for some stability, when you just want somebody to see you, that's exactly when predators know how to strike. They can smell that from a mile away. But everything changed when Marqua became a mother. January 2020, Baby Miracle came into this world, and suddenly, Marqua transformed right before everybody's eyes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Friends and family watched her become what they called a mama bear, fiercely protective, devoted like you wouldn't believe. Her whole Facebook page became a love letter to motherhood. Photos of Miracle filled up every single post. Miracle laughing, Miracle playing, Miracle sleeping peaceful in her arms. And the captions? Always the same 2 words: my reason. Then June 2023, baby Messiah arrived. A little boy with his mother's eyes and a smile that could light up any room he was in. Now she had 2 reasons to wake up every morning. 2 reasons to work hard. 2 reasons to believe in a better future for herself. Neither of the children's fathers were in the picture. Marqua was doing this alone. Single mother, 2 kids under 5 years old. And she was making it work with grace and determination that would put a lot of people to shame. Her social media told the whole story. Every milestone documented. Every moment celebrated like it was the biggest thing in the world. Because to her, it was. January 22nd, 2024. She posted a photo of Miracle and Messiah standing in front of a Christmas tree. The caption, my reason. It would be her last post. Because somewhere between that photo and the next sunrise, Marqua met a man online who promised her she wouldn't have to do this alone anymore. She believed him. That belief would cost her everything. The exact moment Marqua Johnson met Benjamin Joseph Taylor, that's lost somewhere in the digital void of dating apps and social media DMs. But what we do know is this. He found her when she was vulnerable, and he knew exactly what to say. Benjamin Taylor was 34 years old, 12 years older than Marqua. To a young, single mother trying to make ends meet, maybe he looked like the answer to her prayers. Mature, experienced, somebody who could help carry the weight she'd been carrying by herself. He lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, 170 miles from Myrtle Beach. Not close, but not impossible either. They talked, they connected, and Benjamin made promises. Look, Marqua's family had concerns about that age gap. Of course they did. But she was a grown woman, a mother, capable of making her own choices. They wanted her to be happy. They wanted her to find love. They wanted those babies to have a father figure in their lives who would step up and be present. So when Marqua decided to move to Charlotte in the fall of 2023, her family supported her. They did. It was a huge step, leaving everything familiar, everyone she knew, uprooting her children for a man she'd met online. But love makes people do wild things. Love makes you believe in possibilities. Love makes you take risks. Here's what Marqua didn't know, though. What she couldn't have known. Benjamin Taylor wasn't who he claimed to be. Public records? They tell a completely different story. A darker story. Multiple assault charges, kidnapping charges, domestic violence incidents stretching back years. This wasn't a man who lost his temper once or twice and learned from it. This was a pattern, a lifestyle, a way of moving through the world. He had a history of targeting vulnerable women, single mothers, women dealing with mental health struggles, women who were isolated, women desperate for connection, for somebody to see them and choose them. And once he had them, he'd systematically cut them off from everyone who cared about them. Friends stopped hearing from them. Family visits became rare, then non-existent. Phone calls got shorter, stranger, less frequent. It's called isolation. And it's the very first step in every abuser's playbook, period. But Marqua didn't know any of this. She packed up her whole life, loaded Miracle and Messiah into the car, and drove to Charlotte believing she was starting a brand new chapter. A better chapter. One where she didn't have to struggle alone no more. Within weeks, something went wrong. November 2023. Marqua suddenly returns to Myrtle Beach with both kids. She doesn't explain much, doesn't go into detail about what happened, but the message is clear enough. Things with Benjamin didn't work out. Her family is relieved. Whatever happened up there in Charlotte, at least she got out. At least she came home. At least she's safe now. At least it's over. Except it wasn't over, not even close. January 2024. Marqua makes a decision that will seal her fate forever. She goes back to Charlotte, back to Benjamin, back to the man who will kill her. She moves into an apartment on Orchard Trace Lane, and this time, Benjamin moves right in with her. Second chances, right? That's what she believed in. She believed people could change. She believed love could fix things. She was wrong. Hold up. Real talk for a second, because I need y'all to hear this. Have you ever ignored a red flag because you wanted to believe someone could change? Maybe you saw the warning signs clear as day, but convinced yourself it would be different this time? Drop your story in the comments. No judgment here, just truth. We all been there in some form or another. And if this case already getting under your skin, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Trust me, we're just getting started with this story. January 20th, 2024. Mark that date. Write it down. Because it's the last time Marqua's family heard her actual voice. The last time they knew for certain it was really her on the other end of the line. After that, everything changed. 2 days later, January 22nd, Marqua posted that photo of Miracle and Messiah in front of the Christmas tree. My reason, same caption she'd used 100 times before, because those babies were her reason for everything. Then, nothing. Her Facebook went completely silent. No more photos of the kids, no birthday countdowns, no random posts about motherhood and the little moments that made her day. For a woman who documented every single moment of her children's lives, who shared her joy with the world, the silence was deafening. But her family was still getting text messages. Short ones, delayed responses, messages that came hours after they reached out, sometimes a whole day later. Sorry, been busy. Can't talk right now. I'll call you later. Except she never did call, not once. Marqua's mother tried calling her directly, straight to voicemail. She tried again, no answer. She tried a third time. Same thing. Her aunt sent messages asking how the kids were doing, asking for updates, asking for photos. The responses came back brief, vague. Nothing like Marqua's usual warm, detailed updates about what Miracle said that day or how much Messiah was growing. Something felt wrong. Family members started comparing notes with each other, like, "Did you hear from her?" "Yeah, but it didn't sound like her." The text didn't sound right. The tone was off. The word choices were different. Cold, distant, not Marquis at all. They tried video calling. Every single attempt declined. They asked for recent photos of Miracle and Messiah. None came through. They suggested coming to visit, meeting up, seeing the kids. Excuses piled up like bricks. Not a good time. The kids are sick right now. Maybe next month when things settle down. By mid-February, the anxiety was eating them alive. This wasn't Marqua. This wasn't how she talked to her family. This wasn't how she treated people she loved. Marqua's mother made a decision right then and there. She was done waiting for answers. She was going to Charlotte. She was going to see her daughter face to face whether Marqua wanted her to or not. Because deep down in that place where a mother's instinct lives, where you just know when something's wrong with your child, she already knew something terrible had happened. She just didn't know how terrible, not yet. Here's where this story takes a turn that's going to make your stomach drop. While Marqua's family was receiving those text messages, while they were being told, "I'll call you later," while they were getting excuse after excuse, Marqua was already dead. She had been dead for weeks. And the person sending those messages? Benjamin Taylor. He had her phone. He had access to all her accounts. And for 6 whole weeks, he played the role of Marqua Johnson, texting her family just enough to keep them from showing up at the door. But he wasn't good at it. The messages were too short, too cold, too unlike the woman who poured her whole heart into every conversation she ever had. Marqua's family knew something was off. They just couldn't prove it yet. When investigators finally got their hands on Benjamin's devices, they found something that made their blood run cold. Drafts. Saved drafts of messages he was planning to send from Marqua's phone. Like he was rehearsing what she would say, practicing being her. His search history told an even darker story. How to prevent decomposition odor. How to send texts from another person's phone. Body decomposition timeline. He wasn't just covering his tracks. He was studying, planning, making sure he could keep up the lie as long as possible. And while he was playing this sick game of pretend, he was also draining Marqua's bank accounts, selling her belongings, taking money from a dead woman to fund his own life, moving on like nothing happened. But here's the part that's gonna haunt you. He was living in that apartment, the same apartment where Marqua's body was decomposing in a storage container in the hall closet. Every single day, he walked past her, got dressed, made food, went to sleep, all while her body rotted just feet away from him. The air conditioning was cranked down to 62 degrees, an attempt to slow down the decomposition. 23 air fresheners placed strategically all throughout the apartment, candles burning constantly, anything to mask the smell of death. And the kids, Miracle and Messiah, they weren't even in the apartment. They were in the trunk of his car, stuffed into gym bags like luggage, parked outside in the lot where anyone could walk by, go to their car, live their life, having no idea what was sitting right there. For 2 months, Benjamin Taylor maintained this nightmare. 2 whole months of fake texts, 2 months of excuses, 2 months of living with the evidence of his crimes right there in his space. Surveillance footage would later show him making late-night trips to that car. Investigators believe he was checking on the bodies, making sure they were still hidden, still concealed from the world. He was also caught on camera buying more air fresheners, more plastic containers, more supplies to keep his secret buried. But here's the thing about decomposition. It doesn't care how many air fresheners you buy. The smell was getting worse. Neighbors were starting to notice. Time was running out, and Benjamin knew it. So on March 6, 2024, surveillance cameras captured him doing something that would seal his fate. He boarded a Greyhound bus, and he left North Carolina, just like that. He didn't take the car, couldn't risk it with 2 bodies in the trunk. He just grabbed what he could carry and ran. But he didn't run far enough. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? This is the kind of story that sticks with you, that makes you pay attention to the people around you. Hit that button right now. Share this video because Marqua's story needs to reach everyone. And here's a question for the comments. What would you do if a family member's text suddenly felt wrong? Would you trust your gut or wait for proof? Let's talk about it. March 2nd, 2024. Marqua's family had waited long enough. The strange texts, the declined video calls, the excuses that didn't add up. None of it made sense anymore. So they got in the car and made that 170-mile drive from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte. They had the address, Orchard Trace Lane, apartment 4B. When they arrived, the building felt too quiet. They found the apartment and knocked on the door. No answer. They knocked again, harder this time. Called out Marqua's name. Pressed their ears against the door, listening for any sound. A child's voice, footsteps, a TV playing, nothing. For hours, they stood in that hallway, knocking, waiting, hoping someone would open that door. Nobody did. The silence was suffocating. No laughter from Miracle. No crying from baby Messiah. Just nothing. They knew deep in their bones, something was horribly wrong. The next day, March 3rd, they walked into the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department and filed a missing persons report. They explained everything. The last real conversation on January 20th, the weird text messages, the social media silence, the unanswered door. Police took the report, but initially, they treated it like a possible voluntary absence. The apartment door was locked, no signs of forced entry. Maybe Marqua just didn't want to be found, but her family wasn't buying that. Not for 1 second. They pushed harder. March 5th, officers returned to the apartment with family members for an official welfare check. They knocked, no response. They tried the door, locked from the inside. A maintenance worker confirmed something absolutely chilling. According to his records, nobody had entered or exited that apartment in weeks. The door had been locked and untouched this whole time. If nobody had gone in or out, where was Marqua? Where were the children? So what? Then came the surveillance footage. March 6th, cameras caught Benjamin Taylor boarding a Greyhound bus out of North Carolina. The boyfriend had fled. That changed everything right there. This wasn't a voluntary absence anymore. This was a criminal investigation. March 8th, Police Chief Johnny Jennings held a press conference. Missing person flyers went up all across Charlotte. The media ran the story everywhere. Social media exploded with shares. Behind Chief Jennings stood Marqua's family, faces frozen in fear, eyes red from crying, barely holding it together.
The person that we are looking for is within the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. However, we don't know where that person is at this time, but we are actively looking for her.
Is that person a boyfriend?
She was in a relationship. That is the person that we are looking for, that she was acquainted with. That is why we want to make sure that we know that everyone knows that it's not a random act that we're talking about.
The community responded. Tips flooded in from everywhere. Everyone was looking for Marqua and her babies, but it was already too late. March 15th, 2024. Nearly 2 months after Marqua's last real contact with her family, investigators obtained a search warrant. They entered apartment 4B. The cold hit them first, then the smell. They moved through the apartment, documenting everything, following the scent straight to its source. The hall closet. They opened it, and there she was. Marqua Johnson's body found inside a large plastic storage container, the kind you'd buy at Walmart to store holiday decorations or old clothes. She had been dead for nearly 2 months, right there, this whole time. The apartment told the story Benjamin tried so hard to hide. Air conditioning set to 62 degrees, 23 air fresheners scattered across every single room, candles on every surface, all of it, a desperate attempt to mask the reality of what he'd done. Investigators worked through the night, processing the scene, documenting every detail. But there was a question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Where were the children? Miracle and Messiah weren't in the apartment, not in the bedrooms, not in the closets, not anywhere. Then someone remembered the car. March 16th, 2024, the next morning. A silver Chevy Camaro sat in the parking lot outside the building. It had been there for days, untouched since Benjamin fled. Officers approached the vehicle, looked through the windows. Nothing visible from the outside. They popped the trunk. 2 gym bags, the kind you take to the gym or pack for a weekend trip. Ordinary, unremarkable. Inside those bags were 4-year-old Miracle and 7-month-old Messiah. Investigators who had worked homicides for decades, men and women who thought they'd seen everything, stood in that parking lot and wept. The autopsies came back weeks later, and the results were devastating. Cause of death, fentanyl poisoning, all 3 victims. But the toxicology reports revealed something even more disturbing. Miracle and Messiah had multiple substances in their systems: fentanyl, cocaine, Benadryl, melatonin. Let me say that again. A 7-month-old baby doesn't accidentally ingest fentanyl. A 4-year-old doesn't choose to take cocaine. Someone gave it to them. Someone made sure they wouldn't wake up. Marqua's autopsy showed something that made investigators physically sick. Ligature marks on her wrists, evidence of restraints. She had been tied up. The medical examiner also found naloxone in her system, a drug used to reverse opioid overdoses. Did Benjamin try to save her at some point, then change his mind? Or was he experimenting, testing doses, making sure he got it right? Nobody knows for sure. What investigators do know is this. Based on the evidence, there's a possibility Marqua was still alive when her children were killed. She may have been forced to watch them die, restrained, helpless, watching the man she trusted poison her babies right in front of her eyes. Chief Johnny Jennings stood before the media again, this time with news nobody wanted to hear. Benjamin Taylor thought he could disappear after boarding that Greyhound bus on March 6th. He traveled west, away from Charlotte, away from the apartment, away from the bodies he'd hidden for 2 months. He made it all the way to California, Imperial County, a desert region near the Mexican border. Remote, isolated, the kind of place where someone could vanish if they tried hard enough. Maybe he was planning to cross into Mexico. Maybe he thought he'd blend into the desert and nobody would ever find him. But on March 18th, 2024, California authorities spotted him in a tent in the middle of the desert. They arrested him right there on the spot. Inside that tent, they found unregistered pills, more evidence, more proof of what he'd been doing, what he'd been capable of.
Benjamin Taylor! We have a warrant for your arrest! Come out with your hands up! Bang out! Taylor! It's the sheriff's office. Come out with your hands up. Taylor, if you're inside the blue tent, come out with your hands up. It's the sheriff's office. It's got a zipper. It's right there. Now! Come out!
Do not.
Come out! Crawl!
not reach for
Start
anything.
crawling!
You get your hands out from under your waist.
You got cuffs?
Here. Why didn't you come out? Why didn't you come out?
Oh, you heard us. What's up?
Tell me who that is. I was coming. You weren't coming. I was coming.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was. Roll over. Roll over.
You got anything on you that we need to know about?
No. Put your knees up.
Alright, knees up. Let's go.
Come on.
Sit up.
Go.
Copy, 1 to 10, good morning.
Let's flip flop. Stand still. Don't move. Sarge, you gonna take my flip flop?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna double.
Alright. Alright. Put your sandals on.
Secure.
Where's your ID at? Your personal belongings.
Benjamin Taylor was extradited back to North Carolina. And on March 21st, he was formally charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The extradition process began immediately. California wasn't going to hold him. North Carolina wanted him back to face justice. Benjamin was transported back to Charlotte in handcuffs. His first court appearance was brief. He stood before a judge, expressionless, as the charges were read aloud. 3 counts of first-degree murder. Benjamin was led out of the courtroom in shackles. Outside, Chief Johnny Jennings addressed the media once more. Benjamin Taylor is exactly where he belongs, behind bars. He will face the full weight of the justice system for what he did to Marqua, Miracle, and Messiah. He is a tremendous danger to the public, and he will never hurt anyone again. The community exhaled. He was caught. But the nightmare? Far from over. April 6, 2024. Hundreds gathered at a funeral home in Myrtle Beach to say goodbye to Marqua, Miracle, and Messiah. 3 white caskets, 1 large, 2 heartbreakingly small. The family chose a pink theme, Miracle's favorite color. Balloons floated above the caskets. Stuffed animals surrounded them. Children's books stacked nearby as donations in the kids' honor to local libraries. Photos of happier times played on a screen. Marqua laughing. Miracle blowing out birthday candles. Baby Messiah sleeping peacefully in his mother's arms. The same images that once brought joy now brought unbearable pain. Marqua's mother stood at the podium, her voice breaking with every word. My daughter was kind. She loved hard. She trusted people even when she shouldn't have. And that trust, it killed her. She looked out at the crowd, tears streaming down her face. She didn't deserve this. Those babies didn't deserve this. And I will spend every day for the rest of my life making sure people remember their names. The service ended with the release of pink and white balloons into the South Carolina sky. Hundreds of them rising higher and higher until they disappeared. A symbol of 3 souls finally free. But the impact of their deaths didn't end at that funeral. Within weeks, domestic violence hotlines across the Carolinas reported a 43% increase in calls. Women who had been silent for years suddenly found the courage to reach out. Marqua's story was saving lives. Shelters saw a surge in women seeking help. Support groups filled up. Conversations about warning signs and red flags dominated social media. One woman posted, I saw myself in Marqua. The age gap, the isolation, the weird texts my family was getting. I got out because of her story. Another wrote, I ignored the red flags because I wanted to believe he'd changed. Marqua's death woke me up. I left last week. Marqua's family started a foundation in her name, dedicated to helping single mothers escape abusive relationships. They partnered with local organizations to provide resources, safe housing, and legal support. If Marqua's death can prevent even one more tragedy, then her story matters. her aunt said in an interview. Back in Charlotte, neighbors on Orchard Trace Lane struggled to process what had happened in their building. One neighbor remembered hearing Miracle's laughter through the walls in January. Then suddenly, silence. "I thought they moved out," she said, her voice hollow. "I had no idea they were dead the whole time." The apartment sat empty for months. Nobody wanted to live there. Some nightmares don't leave when the bodies do. This is why we do this. This is why your likes, your shares, your comments matter. If you know someone in a relationship that feels wrong, send them this video. It could save their life. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're building a community that doesn't look away from the hard truths. Drop a comment. What warning sign do you wish you'd paid attention to? June 2024. 4 months after his arrest, Benjamin Taylor sat across from prosecutors as they laid out a plea deal. The evidence against him was overwhelming. The bodies, the fake texts, the search history, the surveillance footage, the fentanyl in the tent. Any reasonable person would take the deal. Benjamin rejected it. He pleaded not guilty to all 3 counts of first-degree murder. His trial was scheduled for December 2025. More than a year away. Marqua's family would have to wait, relive the nightmare, sit in a courtroom and hear every horrific detail all over again. But they were ready, because they wanted the world to know exactly what Benjamin Taylor did. The evidence prosecutors planned to present was damning. Let me break it down for you. Start with the bodies. Marqua in a storage container, the children in gym bags, the apartment set to 62 degrees, 23 air fresheners that couldn't hide the truth. Then the toxicology reports, fentanyl in all 3 victims, but also cocaine, Benadryl, and melatonin in the children's systems. A 7-month-old doesn't take fentanyl by accident. Someone administered it. Someone made a choice. The ligature marks on Marqua's wrists told another story. She was restrained, held against her will. The naloxone in her system raised questions prosecutors intended to answer. Did Benjamin try to reverse the overdose? Was he experimenting with doses? Or did something go wrong with his plan? Then there were the fake text messages, drafts saved on his phone, carefully worded to sound like Marqua. 6 weeks of deception while he drained her bank accounts and sold her belongings. His search history was a prosecutor's dream. How to prevent decomposition odor. How to send texts from another person's phone. Body decomposition timeline. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't a moment of rage. This was premeditated, calculated, cold. Surveillance footage showed Benjamin making late-night trips to the car where the children's bodies were hidden, buying more air fresheners, more cleaning supplies, more tools to maintain his lie. And finally, his flight to California, the tent in the desert, the unregistered pills found inside. Chief Johnny Jennings addressed the media after Benjamin's not guilty plea. The evidence speaks for itself. We have a strong case, and we are confident justice will be served. But he also admitted something that haunted everyone involved. There's no known clear motive. We may never fully understand why he did this. Benjamin's criminal history offered clues, though. Assault, kidnapping, domestic violence, a pattern of targeting vulnerable women and isolating them from their families. This wasn't his first time hurting someone. It was just the first time he killed. Marqua's family released a statement. We will be there every day of that trial. We will look him in the eye and we will make sure the jury sees Marqua, Miracle, and Messiah as the beautiful souls they were, not just evidence in a case. December 2025 couldn't come fast enough. Let's talk about the red flags everyone missed until it was too late. Because this is important. Benjamin was 12 years older than Marqua. Now look, age gaps aren't always dangerous. But when combined with other factors, pay attention. He had a violent criminal history, assault, kidnapping, domestic violence. That information was public, but Marqua likely never knew. She moved away from her support system, left Myrtle Beach, left her family, isolated herself in a city where she knew nobody but him. The relationship moved fast. They met online, and within months, she'd uprooted her entire life. Then came the communication changes, short texts, declined video calls, excuses that didn't add up. If someone you love suddenly stops sounding like themselves, trust your instincts. If they're being isolated from family and friends, that's not love, that's control. If their partner has a history of violence, believe the pattern, not the promise of change. Here's the truth y'all need to hear. Domestic violence doesn't always announce itself with bruises. Sometimes it's subtle. A controlling comment here, monitoring phone calls there, limiting access to money. And sometimes, by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. If you're in danger, reach out, tell someone, make a plan. Your life depends on it. I said what I said. 3 lives gone in an instant, hidden for 2 months. Marqua believed in second chances. She believed people could change. She paid for that belief with everything. Benjamin Taylor will face trial in December 2025. The evidence is overwhelming. The outcome seems certain. But no conviction will bring back a mother's smile or a child's laughter. No verdict gonna undo what was done. If you see something, say something. If you feel something's wrong, trust it. Share this video. Let Marqua's story reach someone who needs it. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and remember, the truth is always darker than you think. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and look out for each other. This has been Unheard Cries TV. We'll see you in the next one.